talking to myself because I don't have my mic unmuted. All right. That should all be set up. Oop. All right. Where's the wrong button? All right, everybody. Welcome to DCS. So we're inside of the A10 right now. I was messing around with it for a little bit. I don't have my joysticks yet, so that's kind of the sad part. But I thought, I was like, well, you know, I could still get the game. I could learn how to do the startup procedures and whatnot of one of the aircraft I want, which is this. So I've learned a little bit already. I already know how to do the APU, turn all that on, start up the engines, and then I was like, yeah, well, we'll do a little stream about it.
Good morning. In this mission, we will practice the startup procedure for the A10Z. There's a lot to cover, so feel free to take a break by pressing the pause key at any point. It will be important for you to follow my instructions to the letter. Do not jump ahead and start mashing buttons and throwing switches. I will guide you toward the desired controls with highlights and by referring to the front dash and left and right consoles. You can pan around the cockpit using your view control commands to locate the switches. If you find it hard to hear my instructions over the background noise, turn down the world and in-cockpit sound
I already did that
to
too.
about 50% in the options
People
menu.
were buzzing the crap out of the airfield, so.
As described in the flight manual, a pre-flight check is normally performed prior to startup to ensure the aircraft is configured properly. However, for the purposes of
But
this
ours is
lesson,
configured
begin the
because it
startup
has nothing
sequence
on
with
it.
the aircraft's initial configuration set as it would be at the start of all missions.
Nothing on it.
The startup procedure will consist of
Very tired.
initiating electrical power, starting the APU, followed by the left and right engines, and finally powering up and preparing all essential avionics. Press the spacebar key when you are ready to begin. First, set the battery switch on the electrical panel.
So we do
right
the battery
to power.
switch,
This will
then we do
provide
the
power to
inverter,
DC
which is this
buses
one.
and the APU. Follow the highlight at the bottom right corner of the screen to locate the switch. Good. Now set the inverter switch on the same panel to standby. This will allow AC power to be supplied to numerous aircraft instruments. It will also provide power to the engine igniters. With electrical power now running, we can take a moment to test the caution and warning systems to make sure that we will receive warnings in case something goes wrong during startup. To do this, press and hold the lamp test button on the auxiliary lighting panel on the left console. Take a look around the cockpit while you hold down the button to make sure that all of the caution lights are functional and you can hear an audible warning tone. Everything looks good. Now let's test the fuel indicator to make sure it's functional and accurate. The fuel indicator is located on the right side of the front dash. When tested, the two needles should point to 3,000 pounds, and the digital totalizer readout should be around 6,000 pounds. On the oxygen regulator panel, set the supply switch to on, and check for oxygen flow to be indicated in the flow window. Press the Oxy-In Test Oxygen Indicator Test button to test the oxygen remaining indicator. Watch the Oxy-Low caution light on the caution lights panel to turn on when the indication falls below 0.5 liters. We also need to power the radios to communicate with ATC and mission assets. Set the VHF AM frequency mode dial to TR, transceiver.
So we can turn up our graphics here real quick. Oh. Guess I'll have to do it after.
Now repeat the process for the VHF FM radio. Set the UHF radio function down to main to power the UHF radio. We are now ready to begin the engine start sequence, but let's first close the canopy to minimize the noise. Right-click and hold the canopy control switch to lower the canopy, or press left control plus C on the keyboard. Starting the engines will take several minutes and require a few steps. First, we need to provide power to the boost pumps of the left and right wing tanks and left and right fuselage tanks. You will find the 4 switches on the fuel system control panel toward the top of the left console. Set all 4 switches to the up position. Before starting the engines, we need to start the auxiliary power unit, APU, which will generate bleed air used to start the main engines. As you start the APU, be ready to monitor the APU exhaust gas temperature, EGT, and RPM gauges on the engine monitoring instruments EMI panel located on the bottom right of the front dash.
Issue I was having earlier.
Go ahead and set the APU start
There we go.
switch to start. Now let's return to the electrical panel and set the APU generator switch to the power position. This will allow the APU generator to power the aircraft and relieve the battery drain. However, the battery needs to remain on as a backup electrical source. While on the electrical panel and in preparation of the engine start sequence, let's also set the left and right AC generators up to power. Once the engines are started, they will begin to turn the AC generators and take over from the APU to provide electrical power. Okay, time to crank up the left engine. This is a very simple process initiated simply by moving the left throttle from off to idle or pressing the right alt plus home keys. This will automatically start fuel flow, use bleed air from the APU to turn the fans, and then ignite the fuel in the combustion chamber.
Pretty simple going so far. What's the cancer stick?
As the engine spools up, scan the engine monitoring instruments panel to watch the
Cancer stick at. Okay, we're back now. Okay.
engine interstage turbine temperature, ITT, engine core speed, fan speed, and fuel flow gauges. Watch for the core fan RPM to stabilize around 60% when idling on the ground. You will also notice the left hydraulic system's pressure begin to build. This will normalize between 2,800 and 3,350 psi. Once the left engine is running normal and stable, press the spacebar key to proceed. We'll now repeat the process for the right engine. Once again, the engine is started by moving the throttle from off to idle, or in this case, pressing the right control plus home keys. As with the left engine, monitor the instrumentation as the right engine spools up. Also watch the right hydraulic system pressure to normalize. Once you have both engines running normally at idle power, you can do a flight controls check to test the responsiveness of the controls to stick and rudder input. Test the speed brakes and flaps. Press the spacebar key to proceed once everything checks out.
Woo! That's good.
With both engines now running and powering the left and right AC generators, we can turn off the APU generator on the electrical panel and then the APU itself on the throttle panel. Okay, now we'll power up the control display unit, CDU, and the embedded GPS INS IGI systems. This will begin the automated built-in test bit and alignment processes for the navigation system, which you can monitor on the CDU display on the right console. Uncage the standby attitude indicator, SAI, on the front dash. To do this, turn the SAI cage knob to the left by rolling your mouse wheel down over the knob. Once uncaged, roll the wheel back to set the SAI aircraft indicator level on the horizon. Turn on the multifunction color displays, MFCDs. Right-click twice on the power switch for each display. While we are waiting for the CDU bit and IGI alignment to complete, we can continue the startup sequence. Turn on the Central Interface Control Unit, CICU, on the Armament HUD Control Panel, AHCP, on the front dash. This will provide essential user interface controls to numerous aircraft systems, including the left and right multifunction color displays, MFCDs. The MFCDs are now on. In a few moments, they will display the Data Transfer System DTS page, which we will use to upload navigation and weapon configuration data saved on the data cartridge from the mission planner. Now, set the Integrated Flight and Fire Control Computer IFFCC switch to the test position. Right-click once. The IFFCC provides weapon release calculations, attitude control, and HUD indication. In test mode, the system will run a series of automated bits, which you can monitor on the HUD.
There we go.
Press the ENT enter button on the upfront controller, UFC, to initiate the IFFCC bit. This will take approximately 1 minute.
And I pushed it. They want me on test. Oh, all right. Well, all right, that one. Make sure I'm not pushing the buttons. This will take about 1 minute. So I guess we got a timer here, so I guess we can sit here and wait 1 whole minute. Yeah, long time. And try again. Takes a minute. Or I'm just doing everything wrong on this step. I think I accidentally selected it. It is nice they give you a little clock, though. Nice little clock for us. Too bad we can't go back a step. Right? Can I go back a step? Load.
While waiting for the IFFCC to undergo the bit and the IGI system to finish aligning, let's set up our flight control systems. Set the left and right yaw and pitch SAS channels on the SAS panel on the left console to on. Now press the TO trim button to set the flight controls for takeoff trim.
Slap the crap out of my
Pull up, pull up. Altitude,
Let's
altitude.
upload data from the data cartridge. Select Load All on the left MFCD by pressing the Option Select button 10. The DTS will take about 15 seconds to transfer the data from the cartridge to the jet. During this time, all the asterisks accompanying each data type on the left side of the displays will disappear. When all the asterisks reappear, the data has been transferred successfully. Once the data is loaded, set the right MFCD to display CDU data by pressing OSB 13. This way you don't have to take your head down to check CDU indication. The IFFCC bit is now complete. As you can see on the HUD, the exit function is currently pointed to by the HUD cursor. Press the Enter key on the UFC to exit this HUD menu. The IFCC is now displaying the ground bit menu on the HUD, where you can run a number of other bits if necessary. To exit out of this menu, press the Select Rocker key on the UFC down repeatedly until the HUD cursor points to exit again. Then press Enter to exit this menu. The IFFCC is now displaying the main menu on the HUD, where you can set up various indication and weapon release parameters. Let's take the IFFCC out of test mode and set it to on. Right-click the IFFCC switch one more time. Let's set the left MFCD to the Tactical Awareness Display TAD page by pressing OSB 15. Now load up the flight plan. Left-click the steer point switch on the AAP panel to set it to flight plan. This will set the flight route to appear on the TAD display. With our flight and navigation systems ready, we can prepare some of the combat systems for the mission. Set the countermeasure signal processor mode switch on the CMSP panel to standby. For a combat sortie, you may want to review or create some countermeasures programs, but that is for another lesson. Now set the 4 system select switches to on, middle position. Next, set the Joint Tactical Radio System JTRS switch on the AHCP to on. This will provide power to the Situational Awareness Data Link saddle. With the IGI aligned, let's select CDU nav mode by pressing OSB 9 on the right MFCD. Select the EGI as the primary navigation system on the Navigation Mode Select panel. Next, arm the Enhanced Attitude Control EAC switch on the Low Altitude Safety and Targeting Enhancement LASTE panel on the left console. Note this switch is hidden under the throttle, so you may have to shift your view position to see it, but it is still clickable with the mouse. Turn on the radar altimeter. At this point, we are ready to taxi to the runway.
That one was loud.
Set the anti-skid switch to on. Now turn on the nose wheel steering by pressing the pinky button on the control stick or insert on the keyboard. Click on the yellow handle to arm the ejection seat. Taxiing out to the runway requires tower permission, so we will end our startup lesson here. Tomorrow you're going up. See you then.
Okay, well that wasn't too bad. Took a minute. Get everything to work. At least that one thing. Alright. It's gonna be interesting. Flying without joysticks. After this, we're gonna play some War Thunder. More than likely.
Welcome to the Takeoff and Basic Handling Training Flight. Today, you're taking the A10 DCS for a spin. In this lesson, we'll perform a standard takeoff followed by some basic maneuvers at medium altitude. Press the spacebar key when you are ready to begin.
It's gonna be so weird.
Things will happen rather quickly once you begin to roll, so let's review the takeoff sequence. After a final check of the instruments, you'll begin to roll at max engine power. Your main focus will be on using nose wheel steering to maintain the aircraft on runway center during the roll. Once the rudders become effective above 50 knots, you will disengage nose wheel steering. At 120 knots, begin to raise the nose by gently pulling back on the stick and setting a pitch angle of 10 degrees on the ADI. This will be a safety critical element of takeoff. Pulling up too fast can lead to striking the aircraft's tail on the runway or lifting off with too much angle of attack, leading to a stall and possible crash. Once the aircraft is safely airborne and climbing, raise the landing gear and flaps. Accelerate to 180 knots and maintain the speed in the climb to altitude. Prior to starting the takeoff roll, a number of final checks are performed to ensure the aircraft's safe operation. Ensure the anti-skid switch is set to on. If not already done, turn on pitot tube heating on the environmental control panel. Now hold down the wheel brakes by pressing and holding the W key and increase throttle to 85% core RPM. Monitor your flight and engine instruments for any abnormalities. Look around the cockpit and check the caution lights panel to ensure no malfunctions are reported. Press the spacebar key to proceed once everything checks out.
But what's our throttle button? Modern with Money Brown, what's up, man? Throttle. Because I assume there's throttles set for keyboard. Right? Considering there's so many keys, it would be nice if they actually had like a little search bar where you can just F and Shift F is flaps. Where is the throttle? Throttle, throttle, throttle. Left control G. G up, down. That's nice. F and G. Flaps and gear. Where is the throttle button? No. There we go. Num plus and minus. All right.
You are now ready for takeoff. Take a note of your current heading as you will maintain this after takeoff. To begin the roll, release the wheel brakes and advance the throttles to max. Use careful nose wheel steering commands to keep the aircraft running straight down the center of the runway. Press the HOTAS pinky button or insert to disable nose wheel steering. Gently pull back on the stick to raise the nose to 10 degrees pitch on the ADI and hold it. Maintain 10 degrees of pitch. Raise the landing gear by pressing G and the flaps by pressing left shift plus F. The landing gear horn will sound while the landing gear is in transition. Adjust your pitch angle to maintain 180 knots indicated airspeed in the climb, and check the vertical velocity indicator to monitor your rate of climb. Your desired rate of climb will depend on a number of factors, including the aircraft weight, range, and altitude of the steer point. However, 180 knots indicated airspeed is a good average climb speed. Maintain a heading of 300 degrees and 180 knots. Level out at 5,000 feet. Scan your instruments vertically from the HUD down to the ADI and HSI, and then horizontally across the front dash from the airspeed indicator to the altimeter and vertical velocity indicator.
I'm making the A10 mad. Very interesting. Doing this with mouse and keyboard.
Approaching 5,000 feet, let's level out here. We'll pick up some airspeed at max engine power. Flying over water can be disorienting, so let's turn inland. Turn right to 040.
Right to 040. Alright.
Watch your altitude. Maintain 5,000 feet.
Very interesting. With mouse and keyboard. That's very interesting. I mean, we got her up in the air, so. Trying to see where our heading is, though, again. And it did say to keep above 5,000, so that's what we're gonna do.
Airspeed's getting high. Recover now.
Don't know where the heading is, so.
Watch your altitude. Maintain 5,000 feet. Watch your altitude. Maintain 5,000 feet. Watch your altitude. Maintain 5,000 feet.
I'm me just using the wrong way. All right. I think we're going where we want to be going now. Possibly. Well, may never know, I guess. Shit climbs hella freaking fast, though. Shit.
Let's talk a bit about airspeed. While you may want to fly at maximum speed to get where you're going as fast as possible, you have to keep in mind fuel consumption and designated times of arrival. As such, you will generally fly at speeds less than maximum and preferably close to your cruise speed, which is the most efficient speed for your current aircraft payload and altitude.
Pulling some pretty good G's over here. Now we kind of just basically free flying. I know it said
Let's try to
400.
decelerate. There are a number of ways you can reduce airspeed, including reducing engine RPM, opening the speed brakes, and pitching the nose up the climb. For now, let's simply reduce engine power. Pull the throttles back and watch the airspeed indications on the HUD and front dash begin to decrease. Good. Now let's accelerate by advancing the throttles back to max.
And somewhere, I guess.
Now let's perform a climb. Take the nose up to 20 degrees of pitch by referencing the ADI on the front dash. Climb to 12,000 feet.
It actually isn't too hard in mouse and keyboard, to be honest.
Watch the altitude and airspeed readings on the HUD and instrument panel. Take note of the altitude increasing and airspeed decreasing. Check the VVI to monitor your rate of climb. It's critical to maintain control of your airspeed or you will quickly approach a stall scenario. If your airspeed begins to fall below 160 knots, reduce your climb rate by lowering the nose to a smaller pitch angle. Your airspeed is falling too low. Reduce your pitch angle and try to maintain at least 160 knots. The A10 does not have a very high thrust-to-weight ratio, so cannot zoom climb like fighter jets.
Why no
However,
zoom climb?
with the Hog
What's up, Freedom? How's it going, man?
Makes up for in engine durability and
We're just
endurance.
messing around on DTS with the
Level out
A10.
at 12,000 feet.
I thought I'd look at the startup procedure and whatnot before I actually get my joysticks. Doing all right. Some random person came by our house and left a note on our door that's asking if I'm selling my car. And then my my father-in-law was like, "But like, how much? How much does he want for it? You know?" I mean, yeah, it was weird because they had the Ring camera. My family does. My wife's family, I mean. They got the Ring camera and I don't have it connected to my phone yet. So all I heard was the dogs just like going ape shit, just barking like crazy. It's a Volkswagen Jetta. 20 shirt sheen. So I mean, it's not a bad car, but pretty AIDS. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice. I definitely like it in here. Very, very vibey. Ah. Oh, thank you. Don't know yet on the VR thing. I haven't messed with it yet. It's still in my car, just like almost everything. But tomorrow I plan on like doing more unpacking, going to the gym, stuff like that. I gotta finish unpacking my car. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's not a bad beard. It's getting there. I mean, it's 2 weeks and going. 2 weeks and going. I actually had a nightmare last night that they like they brought me back into the core. Right, they called me back just because I had a beard on the day I left, and they were gonna like ninja punch the crap out of me. Yeah, I got out on Friday. I moved. That's why I moved. Got out last Friday. Took a nice weekend trip on over to Texas. Still don't know what's the indicator I'm supposed to be going to. Or let's see here. And we just zooming. Just a zooming. All right. F10. Ah, shit. Well, how do I... Not what I wanted. Zoom. Okay, there we go. I got it back. I did. You gotta post that stuff into the memes, bro. My water's out. Not one. How do I use the guns? Guns. Gun. Watch, I don't have the guns set on this yet. Because it's only a training. That'd be funny. Oh, you're all good. Just, you know, post memes into memes. I guess we could try and go land. Go back. So, let's go on back. Oh, pull too many G's. Go that way. Let's see if I can actually land this thing correctly. That'd be funny. How's our fuel doing? Getting a bit low on fuel. Game actually looks pretty nice though. And we went so far away. Some funny shit right there. A big ass map. All right. Apparently we were going up that entire time. Alright, well, the startup procedure was fun and whatnot. It's just gonna be me having to rememberize everything. Which is gonna be interesting. You can zoom up pretty freaking far into everything. Kinda nice how far you can zoom. Alright, to be honest, I don't think I should land until I know more about the game and whatnot. Don't want to crash the A10. It'd be a heartbreaker. No victories. None. Oh no. Yeah, these are basically all like lessons and whatnot. Oh, landing. Landing lesson. Let's do that. My water is empty.
Welcome to the landing training mission. In this mission, we'll practice landing procedures in the A10
Warning,
DCS
autopilot.
instrument landing system ILS approaching to Batumi airbase. I've engaged the autopilot to keep us level and on course. Maintain airspeed around 200 knots as we prepare the aircraft for the approach. Landing is one of the more challenging aspects of any flight. A good landing will require careful control of the aircraft and use of various instruments in the cockpit for a precise approach under the direction of the Airbase Air Traffic Controller ATC. A landing consists of navigating to the destination airfield using TACAN or GPS navigation, configuring the radio to the airfield's ATC frequency, configuring the ILS receiver to the airfield's ILS frequency, navigating to the final approach fix as directed by ATC, and finally performing the final approach to fly the aircraft precisely down the glide path toward the touchdown point of the runway. Press the spacebar key when you are ready to begin. Because we covered TACAN navigation previously, we'll use the GPS component of the IGI to navigate to our destination in this lesson. The CDU divert page lists the 4 closest airbases programmed in the CDU as selectable waypoints. To access this page, let's first open the CDU page on the right MFCD with OSP 13. Now open the CDU nav page by pressing function followed by the 2 nav key on the UFC. Press OSB 10 to open the divert page. The divert page displays the closest 4 air bases with their corresponding bearing, range, and time to go numbers. Press OSB 16 to make Batumi Air Base your steer point. You can now use the navigation data block in the bottom right corner of the HUD to monitor the range and TTG to home plate. As indicated on the CDU FLD Info Field Info page, the ATC radio frequency for Batumi is 131.000 MHz. We now need to set our VHF AM radio to this frequency. Press the spacebar key to proceed when the VHF AM radio is tuned to 131.000. Now left click the 1 MHz. Good. We can now contact Batumi ATC for initial approach instructions. However, before we do this, let's also set up the ILS panel for the approach. ILS is a ground-based precision approach system that guides approaching
I think it
aircraft
works.
on runway using vertical glide slope and horizontal localizer radio signals. ILS beacons
I
operate
think I
at
did it
specific
right.
frequencies that need to be tuned to by the approaching aircraft. Batumi ILS operates on 110.30 MHz. On the ILS panel, roll the mouse wheel over the left frequency wheel to first set the frequency to 110. Now roll the mouse wheel over the right frequency wheel to set the frequency decimal to 0.30. Power up the ILS receiver by right-clicking over the left frequency wheel. Let's now check in with Batumi approach and call our flight inbound. Press the HOTAS mic switch forward command or left alt and num plus keys on the keyboard to open the VHF AM radio menu. Now press F5 to select the ATC radio page, then select Batumi approach, and finally F1 to call inbound. Take note of the inbound instructions you will receive. Press the spacebar key to proceed once you've received the vector to the final approach fix from Batumi ATC.
Batumi, Hawk 1-1, inbound. Hawk 1-1, Batumi, fly heading 230, port forward 5, QFE 29.89, runway 13, to pattern altitude.
Press F12 to exit the radio menu. We will return to it in a few minutes.
We can now navigate to the final approach fix, which will be approximately 10 nautical miles off the runway. Pattern altitudes vary depending on the airbase and local conditions, but are generally between 2,000 and 3,000 feet AGL or ground level. Whenever you're ready, press the spacebar key and I will disengage the autopilot so you can make the turn to the heading provided by ATC. Autopilot is off. You have control. Turn
Warning,
to the heading provided by
autopilot.
ATC. Maintain altitude. We also need to set the HSI course to the runway heading at 130 degrees in order to get correct CDI indication for final approach. To do this, roll the mouse wheel over the HSI course set knob to set the HSI course needle to 130. Alternatively, you can press and hold the left mouse button while dragging the mouse left or right to turn the knob. Watch the HSI bearing window for the exact bearing. Let's also scale the TAD map out a bit so you can see the airbase steer point on the map as we approach. Make the TAD soy by pressing OSP 15 on the left MFCD. Then press HOTAS DMS down or the N key on the keyboard twice.
2 and
Set the HUD as soy by pressing the HOTAS GUI hat up command or the U key on the keyboard.
2
Because you'll want to concentrate on flying the aircraft once you return on final, let's discuss now what will happen as we near the final approach fix. You want to hit the approach fix at approximately 2,500 feet and 230 knots indicated airspeed. As you approach the final approach fix, the CDI needle on the HSI will begin to move down towards the course needle. You will turn toward the runway to keep the two needles aligned to pick up the glide slope along the runway heading.
Warning,
As you
autopilot.
turn, you will bleed off speed to below 200 knots and extend the landing gear and flaps for landing. Press the spacebar key to proceed when ready. Once the ILS signal is picked up by the ILS receiver, the glide slope deviation indicator will appear on the ADI. You will need to center this needle by gaining or losing altitude to see the pitch steering bar on the ADI for precise pitch control down the glide path. The banked steering bar will also appear on the ADI for precise directional control. Press the spacebar key to proceed when ready.
Heading is 130, so we gotta go on back. Gotta keep going this way so we can turn inwards.
Once established on the glide path, use the angle of attack indexer to maintain on-speed approach, around 120 knots or slightly less, because we are coming in light today. On the AOA indexer, the up arrow light indicates speed is too fast. The down arrow light indicates speed is too low. The O donut light indicates proper speed. If both the donut and an arrow light are on, the speed is only slightly off from on speed. Press the spacebar key to proceed when ready. In addition to ILS, the Toomey Air Base is equipped with a Precision Approach Path Indicator PAPI light system. PAPI is designed to assist the pilot in maintaining the glide slope during final approach. It consists of 4 lights lined up horizontally near the runway threshold. The lights indicate either red or white. Your goal is to see 2 red and 2 white lights going from left to right. More red means you are below glide slope. More white means you are above glide slope. Press the spacebar key to proceed when ready.
Either red or white. Your goal is to see 2 red and 2 white. Going from left to right. More red means you are below. Above. Okay.
We'll keep the aircraft on autopilot until we get a little closer to the approach fix. If you wish, you can press left control and Z keys to accelerate time. Press left shift and Z to return to normal time. We are now approaching the final approach fix. Select ILS mode on the dim set. The red glide slope warning on the ADI indicates that we are not currently receiving an ILS signal. The flag will be stowed and the glide slope deviation indicator needle will appear when we are closer to the runway. Whenever you're ready, press the spacebar key and I will disengage the autopilot so you can descend to pattern altitude. Autopilot is off. You should by now see the Batumi runway at about your 10 o'clock. When the runway is closer to your 9 o'clock, you will be nearing the approach fix. Check that the anti-skid switch is set to on. Descend to 2,500 feet. Maintain between 230 and 250 knots.
Pull up, pull up.
Hold 1-1. Cleared for visual. Contact tower.
The CDI is moving toward the course arrow on the HSI. Turn left toward the runway. Reduce power to begin gradually dropping your airspeed toward 200 knots and below. If you overshoot the runway heading, perform a course correction in the opposite direction to realign the CDI with the course arrow. The glide slope deviation indicator indicates that you are above the glide path. Lower your altitude to center the needle. If not already done, set the
Pull up,
aircraft to
pull
landing
up.
configuration. Set the flaps to the down position by pressing the F key twice, and lower the landing gear by pressing left shift and the G key on the keyboard.
Wind 240 at 3 meters per second. Runway 13.
Pull up, pull up.
I don't think we're doing it good enough, boys. Oh, that's way too high. Oh, Jesus. My power's still good. How's bit rough. It's weird because even though I pulled them up, it's still going off. Is the Twitch chat not working again? Oh, the emotes that he did. I wonder why I didn't do his emotes.
Altitude, altitude.
Just a little bit bouncing. Oh shit! Okay. Oh well. Oh, looks like we popped our front tire. That'll do it. That'll do it. Alright. That pilot mission. All right. we're gonna end this here. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the fun mess of this. And I thought it was pretty fun. So I hope y'all